are you today?
Great to be here. Yeah, good to
Fantastic.
see you.
Yeah, how's your experience at DPW been?
It's amazing. You can feel the buzz and everybody's here, everybody's networking. It's great.
Yeah, so for everybody online, if they didn't see your presentation, tell us who you are and what you do.
Right, my name's Michelle Shi. I'm the Chief Supply Chain Officer of Dyson.
Amazing. And
I'm Keith Hartley. I'm the CEO of LevaData.
And I loved your presentation. I think that you said something about how it's going to take years for a digital transformation. So you need to rally the team to go on this exciting journey with you. And it made me think not everybody is on their digital journey. And when you said that it's going to take years, I was like, uh-oh, if you haven't started yet, you really need to get started. So talk to us a little bit about that. I love that because we need to rally people because it is an exciting time.
It is,
right?
It is. And also it is the right time, simply because things are getting more complicated. The dynamics that could affect supply chain procurement, they're more at play now, and things are moving just faster and faster every day. So data is the only way out because you can do it on paper. You could do it on paper. You can have a lot of manpower to work on that, but you're not gonna catch the complexity.
Right.
So you have to leverage data to be able to do that. But then you need to bring people on the journey because if they only want to use Excel, they're not on that journey yet. Excel still will run out of the amount of cells to calculate.
The amount of cells.
Yeah, people have to embrace the journey, but you have to bring people on that journey.
Well, and 64% of supply chain professionals are still using Excel. I mean, I saw that recently.
Yeah, it's a real
Keith,
problem.
what are we doing? How do we make this change? Because again, you said it's going to take years. So if we're not doing it today, we need to do it by tomorrow, really.
One of the things that I see that is pervasive at most companies is sort of organizational inertia, the ability to start. That's what holds people back. It's fear of how long the journey is going to take, how many ups and downs it's going to be. But it's that first step, it's that organizational inertia that is required to make great change. And what I see is more and more acceptance that data and decision intelligence can actually transform procurement into a thought leader and a massive contributor inside of companies. And so to me, I talk and I stress the need to get started. Because if you think and overthink and think more and wait for the perfect thing, wait for the perfect stars to align, it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. So a conversation I had just a couple of days ago, he was talking about how you have to sit in the uncomfortable as a leader and bringing your team along with you is that there are really hard conversations. Not everybody's going to agree. People are going to push back. How have you sat in the uncomfortable with your teams and allowed them to really talk about how they feel about digital transformation?
Yeah, I reckon you probably was a fly on the wall when I was having those conversations. I think teams, they always find a reason not to do, right? Like Keith said, it's about that inertia to get started. I've heard all the excuses. The system's too slow, I can't log in, the master data's wrong, I'm just looking at wrong data, and my Excel is the perfect thing.
It's not going to work.
Yeah,
is that one of them?
Yeah, it's just not going to work, right? I've sat through so many meetings with people telling me that, but it's that inertia. That's where leadership really comes in.
Yeah.
And also, this is where change has to be made with small steps. As I talked before as well on stage, as a leader, start showing them how you are using it, taking them to the next step. Of course, people don't like uncertainties. Nobody does. Nobody's just going to jump straight into it.
Right.
Take them step by step, and by the time you ask them to look back, they would have taken a big, long distance already. So that's how the inertia can be built, and then the momentum can start to kick off. But the leaders have to have that right expectation to start with. They need to lead by example and small steps, one at a time, but consistent and also constant.
Well, I think that's so true, right? Small steps. But I really liked what you said about looking back. Looking back at how far you've come, because sometimes we're so in it, we
Yeah.
don't really take the opportunity to celebrate those steps, celebrate where we've come from. And I think that's so important. Now, both of you were talking about decision intelligence on the stage. Why is this issue more important now than ever before in procurement? Keith?
Yeah, I'd say several reasons. One is, just events of the world, kind of COVID and all the macroeconomic shocks that are happening in the world. We're more heightened as people who make products. Manufacturing, we're just more sensitive to what's going on in the world and supply and availability and the demand curves. So there's just a heightened sense of that. The second is just what I call the data swamp. Most companies.
There are so many great words that are coming out of these interviews in the last couple of days.
So I call it a data swamp, and you go to some companies and they've bought hundreds of applications over decades of time. They've got lots and lots of data, and they're doing nothing with it. They're not able to mine it, and they realize that with some help from software vendors and from their own people, they can actually look back, they can analyze, they can have great insights, they can learn from what happened before them. And the third is, I think I'm seeing a crop of leaders like Michelle that are coming around that are acknowledging and working on just getting better every day and not status quo. Because it used to be, as a manufacturer, status quo was okay. You were going to be okay. And it's really a different world now. So I see that acknowledgement of always learning, always striving to get better. I'm seeing more and more leaders try to adopt that mindset inside their organization.
Well, and I think it's progress over perfection, right? We almost accept or expect perfection, and we've got to stop doing that. Because we've got to try different things. I mean, certain things are going to work for certain organizations, some other things aren't going to work for others. So how have you, Michelle, used decision intelligence to really set that competitive advantage while you're going through that digital transformation?
Yeah, I think it's like you said, start using the data. I think once you start to use the data, you will get the insights and you will make better decisions or make a decision towards that. And then the other part is data is really powerful to actually align people. So I talked on the stage about the triangle and mind the gap. Everybody can see data. It's pointless if everybody sit around the table just argue a topic without data.
Just by your gut.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we used to do.
Yeah, I know. Well, whoever speaks the loudest gets their way. It doesn't work like that anymore, especially with the new generation of people coming to workplace. It doesn't work with them. It doesn't work like that way.
Yeah, they don't want to do it that way anymore.
But data is powerful, and this is where it will also help you to align. It's a very powerful tool to say, hey, it's not about me. Look at the data. So that's why from the intelligence perspective, it's great to give you insights, helps you make decisions, but helps you align everybody as well.
Amazing. So you mentioned something about a $1 billion part challenge and commitment.
Yes.
Can you share with us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm super proud of the work of the LevaData team. We took on this challenge in April to try to find $1 billion of part savings to kind of put us to the test, put our software to the test, put sort of what we can see in the market as savings. And we're almost there. We're real close. 92% isn't bad. I think we're a couple of weeks away.
92% to $1 billion?
To $1 billion.
Well done.
So we're almost there. But the resounding sort of takeaway for me from this is there's a feel-good part to this because, as the father of 2 daughters, I think about the next generation of supply chain talent. And there are no resources for young professionals, people going into university, into college age, to actually learn about supply chain.
Right.
Things like replenishment and forecasting and these terms that I throw around and know really deeply, but the next generation, they don't need to work 25 plus years to understand those things. So we're starting an organization called Women in Supply Excellence that's going to be free. It's going to be online, and it's going to be videos, small videos to educate people about all of these weird supply chain terms that Michelle and I know, and we're going to use some of the money. The donation from the $1 Billion Part Challenge is going to fund this effort to educate the next generation, at least do our part to try to get the next generation of leaders up to speed in supply chain sooner.
We should talk, because I have a dictionary. It's like 170 pages or something.
A 2-minute video, that's all we need. And then my shameless ask is, that's what we're going to ask of people is, professionals to record videos for educational purposes, for no other reason.
Nice.
And so it makes us feel good that, we're going to change the world in that way by developing these leaders.
So Michelle, as a leading woman in supply chain and role model for so many men and women, the next generation, what advice do you have for somebody just getting started?
I think supply chain is a really cool place.
Right? I am so with you.
It's such a cool
So cool.
place. And this is where it's one place. I've actually worked in many different areas, but it's one place you can join the dots together. You can join the dots together for the company.
See an impact.
Exactly. And you can join the dots together for world events as well.
Yeah.
And this is where even a lot of the economists use the Purchasing Managers Index. Well, it's the Purchasing Managers Index, right? That's pretty cool, because what we're able to see in supply chain, they're typically the lead indicators of how economy is going to go, how consumer confidence is going to turn, how inflation might turn as well.
Right.
It's such a cool space, but we need to be able to come out of the shell a little bit, be able to join the dots and be able to tell the story, be able to tell people how cool it is to be in procurement, to be in supply chain, to be in operations, because this is really the place to be. And also to people listening, if you are already in supply chain, step out from what you do every day, look across and join the dots. Because once you're able to join the dots, it'll be so clear to you where you need to go and where you need to lead the company to as well.
Well,
I think I just got my idea for my next T-shirt. Supply chain is so cool. I love it.
Okay, our second T-shirt idea today.
That's amazing. And with technology, it is super cool. I mean, when I first started a long time ago, everything was still manual, right? I had files piled up on my desk and I was still, printing all sorts of paper and things like that. So it's really fun. But if you could change one thing in your career that you've done, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I think I probably would start in supply chain earlier in my career.
Really?
I did the transition later in my career, but I probably would have started. Because if you talk about impact, I think it's only when something is missing, then you know how important it is. And I think during the pandemic, everybody felt how important supply chain
Toilet paper.
Exactly. Anything from toilet paper to your TV, your Christmas presents for 2021. Everybody thought Santa wasn't going to be coming because nobody could get their Christmas presents. It's only when it's missing, then you know how important it is in your everyday life. That's why I think everybody in supply chain, we do make a positive impact to the society, to the world. And that is something that makes me feel good, actually working hard, actually driving everything. So yeah, I wish I would have changed earlier or started my career in supply chain straight away. Then I would have a lot more years to give as well.